From Redfall to Tears of the Kingdom, May was another massive month for video games, for better and for worse. So without further ado, let's dive into the gaming news of May 2023.
At the start of the month, we saw the release of one of the most anticipated games of this year for Xbox, Redfall. We released our first impressions video on it earlier in the month, and although our expectations weren't too high already, it somehow still managed to disappoint us. On top of the clunky gameplay and disjointed story, the performance was abysmal. With almost constant stutters and freezes, it was pretty much unplayable.
And it seems like critics agree with us, as it's sitting at an awful 54 on Metacritic. There were some positive reviews from outlets such as VGC, who gave it 4 out of 5, but the vast majority of reviews ranged from 60 all the way down to 30. And it wasn't just the critics that weren't happy. User reviews on Steam are just 32% positive. And with the player count dropping to even below 100, it's clear that Redfall was the worst received title of this year so far. But it didn't hold that title for very long, as just a few days ago the Lord of the Rings Gollum released to universal criticism, dropping to just 35 on Metacritic. There wasn't a single positive review, and one outlet even gave it a 0.
The 2 out of 10 review from PushSquare summarises the complaints pretty well. They criticise the repetitive and dull gameplay, muddy looking graphics, uninspiring story, and frequent bugs and crashes. On the other hand, we also saw the release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which released to not just the best reviews of the month, but of the entire year so far, with critics and fans praising the new building mechanics in the game and the improved open world. With the addition of caves and sky islands, this completely removed the fear of this game being a Breath of the Wild replica, and solidified its potential as a Game of the Year contender.
The biggest multiplayer launch of the month was expected to be Redfall, but after its terrible release, a new challenger emerged in the Outlast Trials, which received overwhelmingly positive reviews on the day of its launch on Steam. Even though it's still in early access, it's got quite a bit of content, and I've been playing loads of it over the last couple of weeks. I haven't actually played any of the Outlast games, but I really didn't need to appreciate this game. There isn't a massive amount of story to it, but the world building is incredibly interesting and impressively immersive.
Unfortunately, critics didn't really agree with this, with an average score of about 7 out of 10, which is a far cry from the 95% positive reviews we saw on Steam. Another co-op game recently released was Bread and Fred, which we also made a first impressions video on, and as a whole really enjoyed. People generally agreed with us, as proven by the 90% positive Steam reviews. In particular, we love the art style and the charming characters.
One of the weirdest, but also one of the best games to release this month was Humanity, a Lemmings-style puzzle game that really surprised me. Even though it does of course take inspiration from Lemmings, it does also do quite a lot to differentiate itself, putting you in control of a superpowered dog that's able to command hundreds and hundreds of tiny people. The amount of individual characters on screen at once is pretty impressive, and is made even more impressive when you play in virtual reality. The entirety of the main game is playable in VR, and I found it to be a very enjoyable experience. Another VR title that released this month was another Fisherman's Tale, the sequel to 2019's mind-bending puzzle game A Fisherman's Tale. The original was really fun and very creative, but my biggest issue with it was the pretty short runtime. I believe it took me about an hour and a half, which was very short even by VR game standards. However, this isn't a problem in the sequel, as it took about 4 hours to complete, and throughout those hours the gameplay changed quite a bit, with new mechanics being introduced and increasingly challenging puzzles, and overall I found it to be very enjoyable.
Another release of the month was Warhammer 40k Boltgun, which released to general critical acclaim and a huge amount of love from fans, receiving 94% positive reviews on Steam, with many people praising the boomer shooter gameplay and the retro graphics. However, some did complain about some serious difficulty spikes and the repetitive level design, but as a whole, people definitely enjoyed it.
Another retro style game that released this month was the remake of System Shock. As of recording, the game hasn't released just yet, but I did play the demo and enjoyed it quite a lot. I haven't played the original, but from the brief introduction I got, the story and world did seem to be pretty interesting.
Although this game hasn't quite released yet, we do have reactions from critics. With a Metacritic average of 74, it seems it's not for everyone, but for fans of the original, it's definitely worth a try. The PlayStation Showcase premiered and showed off plenty of games. Here are some of our live reactions to the biggest highlights of the event.
Wait, is this a Ghost Runner sequel? Yeah, it is! I got it!
They adventure to the
Another basic platformer, it looks like.
And even
Never mind.
Oh. Oh, there we go.
That's really creative.
2023 as well.
I think this is throwing you off. I don't think
Yeah.
this is the actual game. Oh no.
That's a crocodile, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is
And the
happening?
massive snake. Hello. Who are you? Oh!
Ah.
Oh, is this Mirage?
Agreed. There we go. It's gotta be.
Not
October
far away
12th.
at all.
For
Oh.
another week of career fulfillment and minimal social interaction.
Wait, this is just
We know
sister
how
location, is it
challenging
not?
can be to find a
I don't
place
know. What
where
is
you
this?
feel
VR head movement,
and only
maybe?
infrequently
Oh.
Oh, Help Wanted
What is
2.
this? Oh my god, it might be. It is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Oh my god. Resident Evil 4.
Ah, you called it. Nice.
Oh, yes. Tell me when.
Nothing. They're not gonna tell you.
Ah, just in
Oh
development.
no! That means it's gonna be a while.
Arizona Sunshine sequel.
Ah.
It's Arizona Sunshine 2, coming 2023. Oh,
Okay.
really? That's surprising because it's only a CG trailer.
Yeah.
That's some good physics.
That is cool. I like that. Yeah.
That is soon. Okay.
What is this? Oh no.
Oh! Got us with the fake out. Oh, here's gameplay.
Okay.
Yes.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Okay. Okay. Oh my god.
What is this map? This looks like
I
a
don't know,
much
this-
more expanded
It's
New
completely
York.
different.
Yeah. Ah, they're doing a
Ah.
GTA 5 type thing.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Okay. Oh, that's fun. I like
Whoa.
that. Oh. Whoa.
Oh, whoa,
That's-
gliding.
That is so cool.
Release date?
Come on.
Yeah, we have to get a release date, sure.
Come on. Come on, please.
Ah.
Ah, rubbish.
Although there were some massive titles shown at the event, one of the biggest omissions was The Last of Us Factions, with claims emerging that the game is being re-evaluated after an internal review from Bungie. These reports do clarify that it hasn't been cancelled, but has potentially been scaled down.
In some other positive news, in an official statement, Naughty Dog announced that they are working on a new single-player experience. Despite not revealing any details on what this title would be, they did say that they look forward to sharing more soon. CD Projekt Red recently squashed all rumours that they're in the process of a Sony acquisition by saying that they're not for sale. On top of this, during an investor meeting it was announced that The Witcher 3 had surpassed 50 million copies sold, and also that Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty will be playable at Summer Games Fest media event next month, which could point to an imminent release.